We start today with what appears to be more evidence that the Gillard government is slowing the pace of some of its proposed reforms for the not-for-profit sector. Peter, recently, a few weeks ago, we were talking about the government allowing more time for consultation for the new Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission. Well, now they've allowed extra time to consider the announced tax changes. It
really is interesting that there does seem to be a process of slowing this down and saying, look, we really do need to consult more. This is where David Bradley, he's the Assistant Treasurer, and Mark Butler, he's the new Minister for Social Inclusion, are looking at how they're going to implement better targeted tax provisions for the charity sector. Now, obviously, charities get a whole range of different benefits. If they're got deductible gift recipient status, for example, they've got certain income tax benefits, GST benefits, FBT benefits. Now, the key is, of course, when the government says these are going to be better targeted, there is a certain nervousness. What that means is that they're actually going to be narrowed. And so what they're saying is that organisations who have particularly started social enterprise activities where, in pursuit of their charitable mission or their not-for-profit mission, they're actually undertaking trading, there will be more time before they have to report and given more time to talk about this. If you think about it, this is really important because, you know, we've seen on this programme the emergence of social enterprises. We talked about social impact bonds. And this is where you can be pursuing a mission, e.g. reducing homelessness or helping provide welfare support, but nevertheless do some trading for that. Now, obviously, the way that trading is counted for tax purposes is going to be really important. So this is kind of welcome as opposed to a frustration for the industry? I think it is. Like the last time, I think there is welcome that this does need more time for discussion. The last thing you want to do is, in a sense, kill the goose that's laying the golden egg in terms of helping social enterprises to trade and bringing in private enterprise funding. Perfect. The Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission Taskforce, meanwhile, already recruiting some compliance teams. Is there any risk there's a kind of a mixed message here? I have to say, I thought it was a bit odd that the very first ads that I saw for this new regulator coming up was adverts for compliance teams. Now, these are the teams that are going to be looking at if there's any deliberate misconduct on the part of charities. And obviously, you've got to have investigators, forensic investigators, able to look at that. OK. Is it in any way worrying for the sector if they're kind of been looking into it? I think it probably is that, look, the press release and the press statements that accompanied this were all reassuring. You know, this was about allowing charities to have proportionate responses and look at self-correction. You know, the aim was not to punish. Nevertheless, it's certainly indicating that the new regulator is going to have teeth in looking at fundraising in the charity sector. Sure. We've also had the WA Premier Colin Barnett talking about a new initiatives to actually support social enterprise. Well, here again, you've got in WA, there is an initiative to try and support organisations that want to trade as social enterprises in pursuit of their mission. The government in WA is setting aside $10 million as grants to support such social enterprises. What's interesting, and I think actually pretty clever, is going to support, if you like, an intermediary organisation that can work with not-for-profit organisations to help develop their business plans before they are given the government grants. In other words, there is a proper business process in line. There's going to be an intermediary, I think it'll be led by Social Ventures Australia, which will work with the not-for-profits as they apply to get these government grants. Peter, also some news we should get across with you. The last couple of weeks we've seen some Roy Morgan research which shows charitable giving in Australia last year. It's kind of looked at that area. What were some of the main findings? Well, what's very clear now is most Australians give. If you look at the Roy Morgan poll, it's saying that more than 70% of adult Australians are now giving at least to charity, and in fact 4 million are giving $200 a year or more. Not surprisingly, there's variations. People who earn less than $20,000, there's about 60% of those give. If you're earning more than $100,000, about 86% of them live. And then they look at these other characteristics. One you'll be interested to know is that, in fact, if you are watching the ABC One, you are 21% more likely to give than other Australians. So it's got a sort of interesting criteria on the givers.